Hello, I'm Sean Bond of the PsionicLeague, and we have a special guest today, Dave Marrow. Can you introduce yourself and how people know you and what's your life goals and missions are?
Hello, Sean. Hello, everyone. I'm someone who's known Sean for quite some time. More from the United Kingdom, as over the last so many years, at least the last 20 years, traveling. Um, but um, but I'll explain with that. I try not to think too much of myself in order to know more about what's the right thing to do. I'm thankful for this space to talk. I suppose an introduction to myself, mixed background of education from growing up in some very mixed backgrounds, um, from facing, say, what would be too much to deal with that over the years has, through help from friends like Sean and many other people, from things I've been through, from facing things, facing trigger warning, death situations, near death situations, being resuscitated, to going through projects and different things that have brought me to a place where I'm refinding my strength. Yeah.
He's well known for in the super soldier community and like bases and my lab talks for helping a bunch of people that are going through similar things that they don't know what they're going through, map it out, and then bring the information together in a collective and deal with the high targeting. He's a pretty interesting person in spirit and why he's here, and reading into him whenever I've gotten the chance. So definitely of great value. And wonder how many people in the world have like similar experiences that they don't even know. How many people like you have you run across?
I can recall, it's difficult to explain. Sean's a bit more clued up on trigger warning, I'd say timelines. I think some of my first revelations came from James Rink. He was probably one of the first individuals I consciously can remember was posting up videos on things like trigger warning, lone wolf, clone warrior, reintroducing me in word to members of my family that have been through projects and different lone wolf, super soldier, lambs, the Montauk lambs projects, ex Montauk, which is again that's what they call the wheel. So we learn to turn back rather than perpetuate for selfishness or trying to always find food that rather than accept what is given, and learn to embrace where we have very little. We still realize that our journey is great. We must persevere. James Rink was an introduction. He was posting videos long before YouTube was many other things. Sorry, it's trigger warning. You might have to edit me saying that. Sorry, but yeah, and then going into some chat rooms, talking to people when the internet, say first around, say, I think it was 2016 or 2015. I can remember when the internet was first introduced into the house I was living in. And a certain event took place where I guess had my experience literally broke through a looking glass, and a gift was given to me. And I think some of the not so savory found out that I'd had a encounter with something benevolent that was a gift, a bit like Link finding his sword in Zelda sort of thing. I found something entered me that was a gift, a holy gift, and it was nothing of any trigger warning, possession, or anything bad. But I suppose when the internet first came out, after a couple of years there were some wonderful publications. And I started to realize that as I first entered some chat rooms, different places, there were people talking about various different topics. I didn't know exactly that I had full-blown amnesia. So I suppose James Rink, and who else would I talk to? This is going to sound a bit crazy, but a lot of my encounters from, say, growing up, bar James Rink and some other people, I was raised in a not so, how should I put it? My allies and friends were a lot less than the opposition. So the navigating around, and I'm not one to say that I led the exact functional life. That the things, the dysfunctionality is one thing, but some of my actions were questionable, and as a lot of teenagers are. But I think also there were people dropping sort of hints about different things that I'd experienced, but my knowledge of it, I just kind of brushed it off and blocked it out because I realized I had to get through education. I had to, as I mentioned before in the basis video. I'm sorry, babbling on, Sean. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So yeah, and with remembering some of your basis videos, you've experience with military abduction, remote viewing programs, maybe some things on prophecy and looking. You said Looking Glass.
Yes, I have 3 parts to what I would call my first encounter with Alice in, well, trigger warning, and the, say, Looking Glass project, or the introduction to, you see, what I did find out, this is an interesting revelation. Now, you just wonderfully pointed out something that's inspired me to know a lot more about that. I only realized recently that I'd been fed Ritalin from a young age that was not from what the doctor had prescribed me. It was something I've been given for many years. And I was also drugged with mescaline and many other drugs that, trigger warning, sorry, from some other drugs that obviously, you know, they say no one should really have anything to do with anyway, but children from the age of 4 or 5, like I was introduced to psychedelic drugs from about the age of 4 or 5. I was having my experiences of feeling bigger and smaller, but that was when I think trauma-based programming and my combat training and introduction to speed reading, this woman would come round and she'd say, right, okay, you're young and this is going to be what it is. And she'd teach me how to read books in minutes rather than, say, hours or days. She'd show me various different methods. She'd say, right, you're going to read through these books, you're going to read that book. And the more I started to feel the expansion in my mind from the drugs itself, I was able to absorb the literature at phenomenally high amounts. It was not like it wasn't, say, a magical say, how should I put it? It wasn't that the books were, say, specifically magical. It was the way that my eyes were being conditioned or augmented in order to have omnivision, or a wider vision, able to see things differently. This woman taught me through using ketamine that I could, but she had to do what she did, training that she did, because she knew the tasks ahead. I would never have met you, I'd never have met any of the truthers, all the wonderful people that have helped me, clothed and fed. So she basically showed me that the eyes can see more than what the optical normality, the mainstream vision is. And so after taking on board these books, that an expansion of mind through alcohol and mescaline and even radiation supplements in order to strengthen and boost survival tests, I started to realize that my mind was very, how should I put it? There was an atomic content, no, sorry, trigger warning. There was a trigger warning. There was a, sorry, I lost something then. I think without saying too much, through the Alice in Wonderland thing, when I reached secondary school, I was, this woman had been asking me out on a date. Well, not woman, she was same age as me. We were about 15 years old. She liked me, I really fancied her. She was being a bit seductive, really, to be honest. And I, I hadn't really had a proper girlfriend at that time. At the school, I kind of was too shy about all of that. And so we're chasing each other around, just having a bit of fun. And I grab her around the waist, not in a nasty way, not in a nasty way. And we both somehow she pulls away, and we both fall through this glass, just like kids playing, or sort of young teenagers playing around. Nothing nasty at all. I did fancy, and she fancied me, but we fell through this sort of wall, this sort of glass or greenhouse type thing. And as we did, it's going to sound a bit strange. Within this school in the center, what we broke through and fell through, we saw like not dinosaur, like animal skeletons. Like, so the bones that come out the ground from each side. And what we saw was like almost within the school, whatever, say, how should I put it? If, say, trigger warning, the world was in a sort of digital illusion, if you know what I mean. We broke through the looking glass, and we were still around. It was like all parched on the floor, and there was these like bones coming out of the ground, all the ground's parched, and we sort of looked down, and but then there's this sort of, I won't say too much about that, but this thing said, look, I'm your gift. You have been chosen to help save the world. So it's like a sort of fish, like a sort of holy sort of fish, and it jumped into my stomach and went, whoa, whoa, like that sort of thing. And that became, it said, I used to be your gift when you were a child, but you were not ready. I guess, but you are the chosen one, is what it said. And I sort of thought, where? But then what I'd say also is that all of us are chosen. All of us, all living beings are chosen to fulfill the prophecies of a future of mankind, so that darkness is exposed, and the fear of and to know that we can all have the purity of a wonderful return home back to the kingdom of creation. But yeah, we fell through this glass, and all I can say is there was like tunnels and stuff, and I don't know how to explain it, but it's my first introduction to seeing the real world. Not the world, sometimes there's the architecture of what's digital, what's computer, and what's sort of visual, sort of the things, the perception. And then without going too much on about that, then later on, I started to realize that my mind had become metallic to some degree, the bone structure, the mind, so I was able to realize that my mind, despite what I've been through, the structure of who I was becoming, say, adapting to what had entered me, something had given me sort of like holy bones, or that sort of thing. But all the super soldiers, yourself and everyone, has these trigger warning. Anyway, without going off on a big tangent, that there was so that being a significant thing, trigger warning, the 3 points being a significant thing, birth to midlife to where I am now, to conscience, soul, to physical, heart, to mind, to strengthen, and to reunite. So these, and I think I'll be in the third part now, at the age of 42, where my introduction to, despite what I had to go through, undergoing the training on when I was young in York Islands, one thing I will say is that it's allowed me to survive and endure for the things that are to come. Sorry, I've gone on a bit too far. Sorry, Sean.
Okay, so you went into holy gifts and like a holy fish going in. I've had like similar experiences and things coming to me and talking
Right.
presenting gifts. So I agree that exists, especially. So anyone out there, especially those that are listening out of the humdrum Muggle aspect of the world and are awakening, they can find who their team is, who their soul family is, why they came here, all these different missions, and fulfilling and putting action for it. And then you start to be chosen by different things. And you were chosen, a lot of people, everyone here was chosen before they came here, besides the ones that were like force brought here. There's also the ones that bravely chose to come here, which it takes a lot of bravery because it's a meat grinder of a experience that takes a lot. But like with all the negative that this world comes from, there's way more positive. It's just we forget. So it's like, oh, it kind of sucks. But yeah. And then Angelic's angels, the source club, the God beings, prime creators, whatever you want to go into, in the divine or the divinity is one of the big chess plays of the light in many different forms in the melting pot of the multiverse that is here, of all these different beings that are playing out between light and dark. There's of course also the dark, and so every one of them has their chess moves in humanity. We're like a super hybrid of all of it meshed together. Some can have a combination, some will be more oriented towards one side, some can be an equal balance of both for that purpose. I've tuned into that you have lots of angelic proponents and soul family and support. Archangel Gabriel has been talking my ear while you're going into like and say, hey, let's bring up submissions and stuff. Barely anyone gets to talk about these things, or angel tech or things going into. What can you tell us about angels in your experience?
Well, you see, for those out there, I want to get to how should I put it, call into or self-absorbed or any of those things. It's been a while since I've done an interview, so
yeah, don't worry about it. Go for it. Everyone has angel DNA out there. You also have demon DNA. We're a super hybrid. Everyone can access this stuff. We're not going into eco stuff. Everyone can, but this will help people. Go for it.
I suppose it's interesting because I can honestly say I have insights from what I would call these angels have crafts that drink from water, and they extract from crops to whatever minerals they can find to repair through atmospheric entry. So these angels man these ships that have come from what I call the home of the angelic holy family, where all are already there. Just the wonderful shining that we experience our physicality in on planet Earth in order to expose these things and to bring these things right. So what I've come to know is that not only do these ships, when they enter the atmosphere, experience a lot of heat and atmospheric entry, they have to feed. So these crafts can actually eat crops, and they can feed off, they can drink water, they can go into the water, and they can rest and go into sort of the ground, and they can go into the sort of, the fish come along and sort of make sure there are no sort of parasites or anything like that. But some parasites they eat as well, able to use them for nutrition. So I know that the angels man these ships, they're able to. And so what I tend to find is that whenever I've been to places like bases or places where I've been trained, from a biblical point of view, I will honestly say that my personal belief is that one thing that is really amazing, I believe crop circles are actually land signals. You know, like you've got runways. I think some people are intuitively or are spiritually in connection with, like you say, angels. Gabriel's visited me from time to time, and I've always questioned my own identity, so I'm not sure. I just call myself Dave now, but yeah, I'll just sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No
Yeah,
problem. The camera's going in and out a little bit, like a robot voice. But go ahead and continue.
sorry.
So you're talking about the what a lot of people don't know about, the physical body manifested angels that have the overpowered divinity DNA tech.
Yes, I think what I tend to find is that not only these angelic crafts with angels inside have like some plants growing on them. They've got so they're actually living crafts. They can speak through the heart. They can speak through the mind. They can speak through the whole entirety of our expression. And I think they actually feed from different minerals whenever they go over certain areas of certain where there's properties, etc., they're able to absorb through them what they breathe and inhale in certain things from the ground that restore and rebuild, repair any damage, anything like that. What I found is when they come off, when they come back off out of the water, they reconnect and they have what is known as the water is almost like perpetual to angelic crafts. So it actually has the shining way of they become more star. They return to their original projection of what they are, the star shined upon. And so whenever I've had visitations from Gabriel, especially love Gabriel, or any mainly there was one angel, John Osana. I wasn't quite sure exactly what was going on there, but all I know is that I encountered. I was living somewhere that I shouldn't really have lived, as it didn't really help much, but it was accommodation, so I shouldn't complain. Wherever I have a roof over my head, I will say one thing: at Burnworthy Manor, and that is a place that I will honestly say so many individuals that were there probably are a bit upset about a few things. And what I mean by upset is that despite the amazing things that we witnessed and went through, I think there's a lot of them out there that have had to, despite what they went through, had to maintain lifestyles that were, didn't allow them. So where I've managed to have time, still I have to do military stuff, unfortunately still active in certain things. But I've had time to talk to people like yourself, talk to other people online, many people to gather information, therapy, all those wonderful things. So I've had an advantage in some way, able to reflect, able to communicate with others from so many different backgrounds, where judgment is not the thing. It's about how I'm able to speak to children, able to be around animals, teaching me how to find. I do, as you probably find, relaxation and stability but you understand it on a deeper level. From a Psionic point of view, you're able you've overcome those inner earthquakes that do tend to take place, that are part of who we are. And I must embrace those things. And my neglect towards you, to KJ, to all the friends, all the individuals that have helped me, all the family of the Truth Movement, the church, neglect. I think what tends to happen is that seeing myself as a problem to others is how should I put it? It's not helpful, but it's not helpful as such. But it is important for me to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot more that I could do, can do. It's not that I don't work, and it's not that I don't put in any input. From Gabriel, I can honestly say, just find a non-channel. Sorry, background noise. Yeah, sorry. What I found from Gabriel was that I think he was in trouble. Angel Gabriel. I think Angel Gabriel has a sister, because I think the Angel Gabriel has a family, and I think they needed a lot more help from me than what I could.
What kind of
So I
missions do you end up doing for the Angels? I have also had quite a bit of missions. We can talk about that also for the audience, and let me know if you want to go into any other subjects too.
um, uh, I think there are many rescue missions. There is a woman that is out there that she doesn't realize that she's actually an archangel, and that she doesn't realize that she is wandering in the wrong direction in many ways, and doesn't fully understand um, the origins of how needed and how so many more want to work with her, and how to be honest, feel like I've let her down in many ways for not being able to actually even get to talk to her really much. I think I helped her to a certain extent. What I'll say is that I think she's been trying to communicate with me and trying to reach me in many ways and be reached, and through rejection, through ignorance, and through some things that people have been quick to judge, and people projecting on her past to try and make her feel weighed down by, say, all mistakes that we are forgiven in the prosperity of the fact that we are able to come together and share the fact that weather is but anyway, what I think with her is that she's one of the strongest archangels I've ever come across. And she doesn't have how should I put it? She just seems to be a sort of a survival warrioress in ways that are unrivaled. If it's trigger warning, if it was a bar fight, she'd probably deal with 15 men quite quickly and very swift, and not even know how she'd done it. So it's not that she's not a lost soul in any way, but she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know her own strength, and it's someone I'm not allowed to say her name, but I'm hoping that she'll come and meet people like yourself and come and be more sort of welcomed by the family. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I've like personally and like interacting with angels, and so a lot of immensity of experience. When sometimes most of the time it will be subtle, but I've had some bright, like shining, huge, like when I need help, and there's a big dark presence that's attacking me, or I've had entities try to possess me. I've had a lot of like demons try to kill me and stop my heart and other stuff. And then if they're like, I've usually been able to take care of them, but in the beginning I wasn't able to, because it was like the first coming across it, like, oh, it's real. Oh my God, it's reacting. And then me questioning that it's not just some like heart attack or something. And then the being fear and all that, and then going deeper and doesn't like getting questioned. Then I start formulating ways to overcome it, and then asking for help, forcing like a big light that turns on my heart that gets brighter and shines greatly and kind of like outperforms the darkness, and then it gives me a whole bunch of awareness and tech, and then also calling in angel help at certain times that has actually worked, and then teachings from that, and skills, abilities, armor, weapons, angelic authority technology granted if you do a certain amount of missions, like that I see large amounts of wings more on as like a wand kind of aspect hand. It's more of light that influences things. There's also I have come across, and a lot of my friends, like them getting re-armored and protected and having guides around them, and also like in clairaudience and healers that like have a team of angels there for like missions that I've come across with them asking. Usually they'll ask non-selfish missions because they don't really need much. They care about a lot of things like here on the planet, so they'll like usually ask me to do things here, resolve a shadow in myself that affects a lot of other beings or DNA lineage or whatever, as well as people around the area, and then expanding out macroly. Also gone into, some of them want me to help. There are angels are like giant macro beings that exist in multiple dimensions. They like a whole nebula of stars that then birth multiple experiences. They then branch off into those experiences and then go many other places like this world. And while branching off, because in the evolutionary process, you can make more of yourself, and they put multiple of themselves in the chess move game. They will also have version of themselves in physical body humans and other things in the grand experiment that is human. And some of them are dealing with a lot because of targeting and what it takes to camouflage themselves, and kind of go into smuggling through the birthing phase with the dark that have come here, like during the fall of Atlantis and King of the Hill battle, as the light is now trying to take it back towards the light. There's a lot of targeting at them, and a lot of things trying to keep them asleep or dominated or all that. And so they give me a bunch of missions to try to wake up versions of themselves and find that out, as well as I found a bunch of angels that were imprisoned by like some dark sorcerers that used to work for, like whatever you want to say about the Catholic Church now. There used to be some dark popes and stuff that would capture and do rituals to capture angels, and they would steal like soul parts from like the Greek gods and stuff, and they use that to like gain a lot of power in Rome. Also, back at the fall of Atlantis, it's like a big invasion that happened with the dark to take over a lot of the incarnational aspect of the earth. So a lot of angels and other authorities that were holding up space then got like a tsunami thrashed over them, and some of them got captured, and even some of them destroyed or devoured, which is not like entirely far gone. It's like you got to get all the parts of energy out of the being that devoured, and then piece it all back together and get them out of a coma. So it's not far gone, but it's not too far gone. But and then like accessing, people can access their angelic DNA, but it's mostly like closed off until a person's earned the right, or through moral code, or they've contacted and made a good enough relationship between them, or are seen as a big mover and shaker based on what they've done in the past. But I'll usually also see them like, hey, if you want to earn up in the mystery school and gain more tech, do a bunch of goodness and expand goodness around the planet, as well as shadow work, which is finding the aspects in yourself that you don't like, that you want the world to also change in while you're changing yourself, and fill it with love and transmute that lead into gold, and it'll like rise up. Ascension for everything is like the cells of the earth. What have you come across in things that the angels have asked you or communicated to you?
I guess what I tend to find is I have a maturity issue. So in some aspects, I won't say aspects, I'm not allowed to use that word for some reason, but in some senses, in maturity, wisdom, yes, maintenance of wisdom. And one thing I'm always granted is a blessing that I'm allowed to heal and restore other super soldiers and other angels. I'm able to do that, but punishment is a daily thing. The more pain and suffering, the more I'm able to allow. I would say regeneration is the word. I'm granted healing. I can grant the clearing of any errors that have been made. But again, through maturity, in some areas lacking in maturity, I find myself able to do certain things not me that's able to do it. It's what's given to me. It's the blessings that I have from the Trinity, from all the things that allow me um, uh, allow me to help others. It's not me. It's what I train to combine. Um, I suppose from the angelic. Um, what I will say is that vocals, and you sing, you're very musical as well, do amazing music. I found that where sometimes words can fail, not fail as such, but I found that the harmonization, the soothing, all those things that allow me to express where maybe this is going to sound a bit strange. Um, you see, immaturity and in inner work, I found that angels do approach me, but I suppose there's the other part to me, which is he's not bad. Hulk that comes that all of us have that, but he he likes gardening, you see, and the angels do. Well, the plants speak to Hulk. They won't speak to me easily, but they speak to Hulk because whenever I water the plants, they all like to go, oh, like that, and they all like to how should I put it? They like to let Hulk know when to stop feeding them water. But I think the water of life is personally why I see when angels shine and those benevolent shines, the water of life is why I acknowledge the presence of angels, the Holy Father, and what I would say is that I think with me personally, I wouldn't say I'm an angel. I think I'm more a bit like I suppose if I was um, a bit more like King Arthur. Really, is I'm not saying I'm him, but I think I'm maybe a descendant of King Arthur. I have an affiliation with he was someone who liked to be around the springs and drink the spring water and be around cleansed, healing water, and his um his time he spent with his people. He always liked to make sure the food was right, the bread was right, the water was right, and there was no unhealthy, there was no sickness. He was a man of, I wouldn't say he was well medicine in a way. He was able to, and I think when he was tending to his people, the angels would also tend to him and to his men and to women and children. And I do feel a connection with King Arthur. I feel a strong, deep connection. I feel that I don't believe I'm him. I do believe that some way we are connected in some way. And he's a friend of the Archangel Michael, and he's a friend of many. I'm not saying everything anyway. No point reflecting on any of the trigger warning bloodsheds of the past or the depictions or portrayals of how the historical condemnation is not something we practice. But yeah, totally. I believe that when halos are I think that's when see I'm going to send you the video. It's quite funny. I've been learning the burp challenge. So 1.5 liters. The aim is to obviously put the bottle tilt right up, and you're only allowed 2 burps, and you have to drink the entire bottle, like not allowed to tilt it back below, say 60%, has to stay pretty much 80%, and you're not allowed to stop drinking or let it come down, no drips, and you're only allowed 2 burps, you have to drink the whole lot, and before a burp comes through, you have to put it on the table. What I found, it re-strengthens, as you know, some of this I expect, and so I tend to feel more the angelic when I've strengthened the bones, the mind becomes restored, the cooling. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, you talked about a bunch of things. So I guess we can go into all the subjects. So you talked about the Hulk, and people may not understand fully what that means, but like it's pretty much self-explanatory a lot of the time with the Marvel universe, and the superpowered alters in different people that have been made by different scenarios, either through trauma-based mind control or like stress bringing about evolution or a need to survive, as well as from past lives. And everyone's got like a interesting orchestra of selves inside them waiting to discover, and of different like wills and aspects of personality, some from attachment to other beings that incurred or caused a wound or all that, and then some of that personality if it's a dark aspect. And then the body's response to that is quarantining it. Sometimes fracture itself, and then they sometimes don't meet up or work well with each other, but then the goal is to get your orchestra of beings fully together and working, and then united, and then sharing tech that they're good at. Like one part on personality or alter would be good at like work, and that would be what you like put yourself into when you want to get enough work done, or if one high energy, one strength training, one intelligence, all this kind of stuff, and then bring them all to like a unified kind of supermind with many-headed hydra in a positive way. I usually find the best ways to bring them to pieces. Most of my alters that I've come across are the way they like to be resolved is find out the reason they became alters or fractured, or if it's not past lives. Like I'm talking about trauma right now, but if it's trauma, there'll be attachment to it, things from other beings that like attack me all at once, and so then I quarantine all that attachment into that one alter, and then my tug of war and remedy for that. So you got to put a bunch of energy and force to resolving every one of those attachments and predators, whether it be like camouflaging them back in time, or collapsing them, capturing them, banishing them, sending them to quarantine realms, getting rid of all the targeting and motivation against that altar, clearing that, healing it fully, like every aspect of it, filling with love, and then getting it closer in unity with you to like you. Go ahead.
Wow. Sorry. Yeah.
Like the Hulk in Bruce Banner. Like it doesn't like each other, then they didn't like each other.
Well, I tend to find what might have brought me on to talking about that. Do you ever get those turbulent feelings where you feel a bit of pain in the body? And then you turn on the TV and there's been an earthquake or there's been some sort of event. Because while you were talking, I was really trying to listen to what you were saying, and I was listening, but I was doing so well talking to you. And yeah, all I say is, as I was speaking, my suspicions are that there may have been not a volcano. I'm not sure what it was, but I shouldn't feed into that. And but yeah, I was. Those turbulent, and I think the Hulk said, Dave, I need to talk to you, and I think there's been an event somewhere.
Cool, we'll check on that. It's 2021, 2 p.m. 21 over here, so maybe they'll add, yeah. So we'll see if anything. I'll check on that. Thanks.
Yeah. No, yes, a disturbance I definitely sensed. I hope everyone's okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, no, that was definitely something I was, do you know, what I like about you, Sean, is that you're able to tolerate the mistakes of others and transform them into blessings. And where I think, well, I'd say, yeah, I could learn a lot more from you in many different areas.
And same with you. Yeah, everyone makes mistakes, and
there's nothing that
we learn from more than succeeding.
But there is, I can't teach you anything, but I can repair damage if need be. God's allowed me that much, and the councils of that have been established. I'm allowed to.
A lot. Everyone has a unique experiences. It's all puzzle pieces. Yeah, like everyone has like is more than just they are this life, and they got this wisdom of libraries of books in their hearts. They can just emanate at any given time if they get the remembering of like a concept that they can then build upon with their intuition of breathing that, knowing this out. So yeah, at any given time, you could probably say something that would uniquely, profoundly change my life. So
I've got something to show you. I've got something to show you. It's an exercise that I've learned to do. The trick to it is, so trigger warning, there's no reference to anyone with ginger hair. Ging 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 ging. What basically the idea is ging 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 ging. You have to get faster and increase. But what it does, it re-stimulates the nerves and repairs nervous damage. So ging 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 ging. Why? Ging 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 ging. And the faster you get, you start to realize your dexterity. It heals. Yeah, yeah. Something that maybe you've shown me. What I've been doing is whenever I get say have an episode, etc. I don't mean like hulking, that's what I meant. I mean, I'm not violent, horrible in that sense. But what I tend to find is that when I'm say in the doghouse, if you know what I mean, I start to realize that rebuilding, so that not only when people are doing healing or they're praying or any of those things, that there's the opportunity without expecting that opportunity allows me to reconnect. So God, so I've helped you so many times, so I'm going to give you a method that will allow you to dust yourself up off. But you know, this is really strange, Sean, and I've always wanted to ask you this. How is it, all the things you've been through and all the things you have to do, you still manage to maintain a functional life? It might, yeah,
I love that question. Thank you so much for asking. It's beautiful, and it will help so many people. I'd also like to ask you as well, because you're dealing with so much, and I appreciate the weight that you're carrying on your shoulders, because it will affect so many things when you transmute it all. Because it's like the weight, the challenge, the adversity, all that stuff. They have to every day you're increasing your strength, so they have to put more and more effort to hold you back. So then eventually they expose or put too much of their force into one basket, and even then they're stepping into your game, and eventually you can spring the entire trap and collapse the tower of darkness, and then the world is way less bright, way less dark. So I used to be like going through tremendous amounts of torture, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I was trapped in like a kind of a void mental prison that was in my mind while I was kind of like passed out in the body, and it was a really long time. And so I had like a lot of constant like being challenged, and then the knowingness transferring. So a lot of that wisdom comes from there. But I had like years worth of trauma put on my lap after that point. And so I had like days of being constantly emotionally overwhelmed, empathic to the extreme, and could feel into everything deeply, and including, and then something turned on my tech to absorb negative energy while I was feeling into it. So it was awful, because I would pick up a negativity from everywhere. And so I learned to adjust that, turn down, absorb. You don't have to absorb negative energy at all. Turn down the sensitivity. Even then, you're very sensitive. Turn up emotional power, or turn up love power, and then intensify that. Let go of all of the external. There's two empathic abilities. One is held by the ego. It's you can let go of that entirely. One is internally in your heart center, through your like higher self, God, source connection in your heart. And you go into that and embrace that in unity, in unconditional love. And through that filter of unconditional love, you can gain all empathic information you need without any self-defeating programs. Let go of the egoic one that is received by the parasympathetic, sympathetic, autonomic nervous system that continually gets self-defeating, overwhelmed. Let go of that entirely. And then also like constant loving detachment. from the world while going into unity, so you can do both unity and unity and loving detachment, because you're not wanting to agree to anything that the vampiric attachment, as soon as you're born of the world, that wants to program our splitting infinite lights, frozen light body, and hologram and reality bubble. We should be in sovereignty of being the only one programming that, not letting anyone else do it, so that you can rise above everything and grow tremendously into your own divinity. While learning every type of energy that's ever been sent at me, pain, death, destruction, all that kind of things, and getting up under it with loving detachment, all those negative, with like the heartbeat like constantly pulsing, letting go of things faster than it can attach, with giving like love to all these things that come as your light shines brighter. The moths, the flame, get attracted and they'll try to attach, and they'll try to take what you have that they don't have. Treating them with love, because they're like young spirits. Like every demon is like a fractured, not able to create its own light, forgot love, or was abused or something. So like getting them, while loving detachment from them, getting them to remember who they are, that they're ultimately you. They don't need to be harming themselves anymore. Wholeness, that so they gain their parts back, so they moral code, healing, all that stuff, so they don't need you anymore, and they take off their own. They're like, wow, you saved me in my antidote, and then become allies with everyone, light, neutral, and dark, in like for the benefit of all unity. Because I'm attempting anyway to do that Christ consciousness pathway of, when I read back into him, he's like an integrated everyone type of thing. He's like the source in a body, so that is expressing itself as everyone, that can affect everyone. I'm trying to do that. Everyone can do that. It's like the divinity pathway.
Do you know, when you were talking then, I saw you with Max's armor. You know Max Spears?
Oh, I love
saw
him.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I got to talk to him before he died. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or stepped out.
Yeah. No. He's given you. I can't explain it. It's he's given you leather armor, like sort of specific type, and you've got like all this armor that he's given you. And I saw a cage on your head, but really, what it needs to turn to is you have, how should I put it? Trigger warning. You have you become Spider-Man at some point, not in any weird bad way. You actually develop. I'm not sure. You get bitten one night, and it actually does give you something similar. And it's not bad, not anything like that. It does sort of make you feel like you got the flu for a few hours, but when you wake up, you'll realize that you'll find things a lot easier. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the reports from that. Not that I should say too much, but yeah, not much of a journalist, am I really? I suppose, but
That's cool.
but yeah. So, and that armor that Max has given you, I think, I'm not sure what it's for. I think it's because you have to, one day you have to pretend to be a statue, so that a load of say not so friendly, they walk past you, and when they can't see you because you look like a statue, and then you walk on to the next big leap of your life.
Nice.
Okay, so don't forget that. Yeah.
Okay, I won't. Yeah, the camouflage from the baddies. Yeah, I like that. And yeah, I agree. Like,
Say bad, but they're looking for you, but because you're wearing this sort of older stuff that you've been given, they just think you're a statue. So, and then as they go away, they stomp marching on, and you end up sort of escaping, and things get a lot better for you. But I'm pleased, very pleased.
lovely. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll look out for that. I'll tell you when I have more of those type of experience. I've already like been able to do the like, oh, nothing to see here, but yeah, I like that, love those experiences. They're very mystical. And with the spider thing, yeah, I've been bitten by multiple spiders, and everything that bites a person, that they can initiate an upgrade through the saliva or the venom or whatever, and there will be abilities that go along with it. Different spiders have different things, and they also have like every type, most animals have unentangled observer tech of some type, where there are higher dimensional versions of that species looking in through the chess move of that species that is here, such as like through cats, the lyrans and other things. Same thing with spiders, like they have big higher dimensional version of them that weave entire dream realities and stuff. I used to have a black widow spider that I took care of, and I used to dream, and it's still in my spiritual entourage. But yeah, and with your previous question on how to deal with all the stuff, shadow work, just facing all the parts of yourself that like reflect the negativity. There'll be a signature match to anything occurring or attacking, giving the love and like hugging yourself and transmuting every negative emotion they have by filling it with love and shrinking it down until you get really good at it, turning all the suffering into the fertilizer for your garden of happiness, turning all the pain into power and magic that supports your evolution and growth to be strong and thrive and face the challenge with excitement, as it will make you stronger, and then bringing those things to peace, because they don't need to be fighting. They've forgotten who they are. All these things, bringing peace to war through transmutation.
I must thank you, Sean, because you've got me through phenomenally difficult, large amounts of you see, discovery. I saw glimpses growing up of things that I'm able to do, and I wasn't really sure. I said, well, I've never seen anyone do that before. And so I was in a small town, not many people, but I said, whoa. So I saw, and then, but speaking to you, kind of definitely so I said, yeah, time. Yeah, time to talk to Dave, and he doesn't know what's going on and all that. But we managed to
you have like some fun prophecies that you make too, by the way.
Yeah, but sorry, yeah. So thank you for that. I didn't know what was going on. I just thought, right, I've got to get through my exams. I've got to get some form of employment. I've got to do this, do that, and I didn't really know what was going on. But then, yeah, one day I was a breakdancing class, and there's a load of, I was doing like it's not young students, not young. Sorry about that. Excuse. A load of young students that came to a class that I was just facilitating. I wasn't really teaching because I wasn't really like good enough to say I was a teacher. But this guy said, Dave, show us some moves. And he said, let's have a fun play out battle and stuff. And I said, no, I don't want to battle anyone. That's wrong. I said, no, you guys are like sort of a few years down from me. I've had way more practice, and I don't want to do that because it's not what I'm about. And so, but then he said, go on, do some moves. And all of a sudden, I just turned around. My legs stretched out. I jumped in the air, did a 360 kick right round in the air. My leg went through the wall. And I was like, I saw everything slowed down. It was like a 720, 360. I sort of landed back down on the floor, and everyone was looking at me going like that. And I sort of thought, no, that's not possible. And that's that thing that jumped into me that and you've talked to me about so many things that that allowed me to do that. And I sort of thought, never done anything like that before. And it was from that day on, and then speaking to you is like, right. So things, some rules can be broke, others can be
Oh yeah, those high-powered altar aspects. That's one of the big things in healing, is like bring all the pieces together, because some of those altars will trigger different times, and they'll have a bunch of pain in them. So if we transmute all that into empowerment and magic, then we'll be even stronger than if the trauma and the fracturing and the pain never happened to us at all. It will be turning into all these things. Like so,
anyway.
There are altars and like science has gone into that. They'll change the physical, psychological aspects of the person that they're involved in when they switch in and out. Like EKGs, brain scans will change for each altar. Eyeglass prescriptions will change. senses of allergies. One altar will be allergic to things, one won't. One will have different taste buds, one will have different tones, capabilities. One will like there's a professional athlete that had altars that one altar knew how to control adrenaline so they could win a lot greater capacity. Some could jump higher, some with the super soldier community, it also goes into ones that were formed through need to survive, such as through drowning and shape-shifting and stuff. So what have you come across, and before we go into the Hulk, another later question, the Hulk stuff?
I don't know what to say, really. Yeah, I found that some parts seem to be able to talk to animals, and I met a cat that was a psychologist, very strict, very, very strict, and unbelievable. It crept up behind me one day and said, "What do you think you're doing?" And then he's very disciplining, but very disciplined. Yeah. Mine's too. Yeah. That's quite. I love all that.
Yeah, the people. I've ran into some people, human that now incarnate into cats, so that's pretty cool that you met them.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah. What else? There seems to be another part that seems to be able, well, I shouldn't say it really, shouldn't say it, get myself in phenomenally large amounts of trouble if I did that.
You can
Seems
make
to
it
be,
anonymous or whatever.
yeah, no, seems to be able to how should I put it? Breathing underwater's been good fun. Not that I want to be tested on that too much. Like, yeah, hey, throw them in, see what happens. That wouldn't be, I'm the clothes to sort of available to do that. But that's quite mad, sort of realizing the outer experience of that. There's some, it would seem that, but you know what's really strange? I don't know if you can see it at all, but on my arm, there's, I don't know if I can show it, there's not muscle, and on that side, it's like pretty light. I'm not sure, let's see if I can get a better shot of it. On say that side, it's all suntan because I've still been doing, so there, it's like all sort of dark, it's quite not dark as in dark bad, but and then on that side, it's sort of pretty much all right. Obviously, I'm still being taken off to places like Syria and Afghanistan and Iraq, and it's really like, to be completely honest, the United Kingdom's, if you're black, you gotta toe the ground, really, or they kick you out. It's that way. Yeah, gotta do my duty abroad, and so yeah, I've got suntan on my back and arms. I always wear a hoodie pretty much when I go out. When I'm indoors, wear a jumper. So trigger warning. So I'm not really sure. I used to wake up thinking, why have I got suntan on my arms and front and back? And I sort of think, well, because I blatantly haven't got the money to jump on a plane. Most of the time it's been quite cold in, say, December or November, something like that, not really sunbathing type sort of time. But so yeah, so there's obviously part of me that's still doing military stuff. I've got memories of doing a 10-mile run, so quite recently, and sort of getting home and thinking, I only went to the shop to buy some milk. I've come back feeling like I can barely walk. And so that's happened a few times. Do you get bold feet at all, where you have to jump out of planes without parachute, and you realize like every single footstep on concrete's like being clanged on the head with a saucepan almost, like, ooh. But that's sort of not so good, but it's quite funny in a way. So I'm not impressed. And the fact, because it's basically around here, if you're black and they say you got to pay your way, get over here, sort of, that. So it's bad, and I know there's a lot of Tudor friends not very happy about that, and I'm not very happy about it myself, to be honest, because I'm not a man of war. I don't really want anything to do with that, but I've had to take part in yeah. So that's been a bit crazy. But hey, I guess yeah, I suppose we won't go into that too far. Do you know why I'm not going to talk about that? Because I mean, so deep. But yeah, it is that way. I sort of keep looking, thinking I know for a fact I've not got a sunbed. Blatantly, I would have a sunbed. You pretty much fed and clothed me for the last 5 years to know that Dave wouldn't have the money to buy a sunbed. If I had that sort of cash, I'd probably be in another country. But hey, but but anyway, Sean, yeah, no, I'm having a bit of sort of stress and back pain, and I think something's happened. So I'm gonna have to sort of not cut it short, but I definitely think we should do a part 2, maybe a shorter.
Can you plug how people can reach you, and then let us go with a little bit of light language?
I do. Before I go, this is quite humorous. Like and trigger warning. This is not to offend anyone in any way. As of recent, I'm not gay. I'm not bi. It's nothing to do with. There's nothing judgmental about anyone that is, or any sexual preference, prejudice is wrong. But I've had a lot of female alters, especially over the last 2 or 3 days, and I tell you what, it's very confusing when it comes to how should I put it? It's difficult to explain. It's almost like wanting to know my true mother, wanting to know my birth mother, and having memories and recollections of a handler and another super soldier who's detailed for this handler, and visiting my mother somewhere, then her not being alive now, and a grieving and a mourning for female company, female attachment. So the inner workings of my, say, yeah, you understand all that. You understand it more than I do anyway, but yeah, so that's a reach out to anyone who feels persecuted in any way, or judged, or probably sounds stupid what I'm saying, find the terminology, because there's so much prejudice and stigma surrounding so many things that people probably don't understand anything about. I don't really know what to say too much, but I will say that it's how I think within the super soldier community, from the super soldiers that I've known, a problem with the opposite sex has been a real challenge to make sure that I don't fall into the clutches of the wrong path in a big way. Obviously, what I have to understand is that being a sleeper, and you're not a stranger to such things, obviously, is that I have the responsibility to break free more than I ever have. And I'm not going to lie to anyone. I'm not drunk or anything. I've had a couple of drinks, but I'm not drunk. I know for a fact that that it's not that I think I'm going to lose my life. It comes down to the simple fact that in this country it's become very, very, very edged, hardened. And I need to try. I'm trying to inspire others to refrain from gaslighting, all those things, to try and more compassion, empathy. I step aside, open doors, try and find a way. But then again, the magnetism of me worrying about all these things, like you're saying, is often what perpetuates some of these comments that I receive, different things, not from the Tudor community and super soldiers, but from maybe those around who maybe want me to speak to them in some way. By being a servant, being subservient, and being of service to the nation that I live in, and friends, and everywhere I can, is a beautiful thing. But sometimes the explanations is more than I can afford, I suppose, and that's been difficult. So I've drawn towards looking for female company, not for sex, not for anything weird or going out on a date or anything, but for some sort of connection with something that I've never truly had the chance to know who I really am in that sense. But no, it's what has become apparent is that vulnerability is often where those parts, those wounds within the wounded lone wolf has to tend to their own wounds and has to ask for the guidance to know that judging ourselves, we only become harder at others sometimes. And the less we judge ourselves, the more we find that we overcome those disciplines. Working with those disciplines, we overcome through discipline to overcome the disciplines that were false, to replace them with the right disciplines. It's what you're teaching me. It's what you're showing me, and thank you. The harsh critic is a strong, strong vessel, but it also needs to be done in the right way. And it's the message I take from you, that sometimes the way I emotionally deal with things is a lack of maturity. And this has definitely taught me ruminating and self-punishment in order to try and, but there is a place for these things, as you've shown me, and all the things you've taught me. It's not that I don't listen to you. It's that I feel inadequate in so many ways about the way my life has been. But I suppose if any of you really didn't like me that much, you'd probably block me and say, Dave, until you've sorted yourself out, But that's not what you guys have done. Love, yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to go for now, but
Can you plug
yeah. Oh, sorry.
information?
Yeah, sure. What I was gonna say is my YouTube channel's basically just David Marrow. It's some pictures similar to the Basis 7, sort of clothes and hair, crazy stupid hair that I've got. And my YouTube channel's Dave Marrow. My music Bandcamp is davemarrow.bandcamp.com, big letters. Dave Marrow, one word, .bandcamp, one word, .com. And my, what else was I going to say? You can contact me on Facebook. My email is davidjohnmatt.com. Sorry, davidjohnmatt, one word, DAVIDJOHNMATT321 @gmail.com for consultations. That Sean has blatantly been the forefront of educating me on how to reach others. Sometimes I could be impulsive. Sometimes I can be too forward with some things that I don't fully, trying to always show boundaries, but at the same time inspired. And so I've been isolated at times. So when it comes to talking to Sean, talking to all of you, there's that joy that comes with speaking to people that truly mean everything to me, and God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and all of you mean everything to me. You guys are my life, and everything that's important. And it's a shame I don't get to see some of you more. But yes, that's how you contact, and I hope you're all okay.
And you're also in the Psionic League, and on our PsionicLeague.com site, we'll be doing more collaborations, and so you can also go on the Psionic League YouTube. And feel free to re-upload this yourself. Can you give us a little taste of the light language that can reach the whole planet in the collective consciousness that you're and surprise you're if you didn't know, your voice reaches everyone on the planet in an energetic way. So that's one of the other gifts that you were given angelically. Other people can earn that too, and through working with Dave Marrow, you can acquire the upgrades that he can trade with you back and forth, and of copies of things that he's good at, and go through his school. May you be able to play us out a little ditty?
Yes. Basically, what I'm finding is that in harmony, I say crescendo. So you go as you exit and enter. So basically, when you gargle, so you got one going, so, and also you got another, so you got three parts. You got, so the first part is, it's basically how, so soothing is that, so you get slightly louder, and then you go back quiet. So basically, to calm is to go, and that basically what that does. So basically, combining 3 sounds, and so you're learning to realize that in order to play instruments, you already have all those instruments. It's just how you use them, and realize not so much how you use them, but how you choose, but be gentle. So, and that recalls your soul, it recalls your mind, it recalls your strength, your body, the light, the lamentation, all those things. So you're restored, and that's always present with you. And your instruments sit in your whole garment, your whole body. More confident you become, you start to realize you can do stuff like and it basically heals, and it brings back making sure that you know that you're okay and everything's okay. But much love and take care.
Yeah, and very impressive. I was reading going from a few hundred to 1,000 units of healing energy a second emitted in that light language, plus peace and calmness. So wonderful. Keep making that stronger and bringing that to the world, because that's very impressive, especially the range as it like reverberates. Science has gone into like the heart emits a beat with the heartbeat that reaches the entire edges of the planet in 7 seconds. There's a mission from that, and we can emit through that. We can affect the entire collective consciousness as if we're it surrogately overlays with our body. And as we heal ourselves and we imprint into the structure of our body, we can also like some in healing methods, like if I wanted to send you a distant healing, I like overlay either a surrogate of like a doll in front of me or my own body. So you doing that yourself daily as you practice with your internal instrument, it helps a lot in the world, especially as you target different places in light, as you see the problems of the world that need to be solved. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Enjoy having you on. Let us know in the comments if you want to see more of Dave. And yeah, I'm honored to know you, and thanks for being on. I appreciate it.